Hey, tonight we have on Mea Davis, a close friend of mine and a teacher for the Chicago Public Schools.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Not too bad, honey. How are you?
Good. Just thanks again for doing this. I was thinking we were talking about subjects, and I found that having people on that are experts on the subjects works better. So I thought, well, Mia, you know a lot about being a teacher, especially right now in Chicago and in general. And I thought you'd be great to chat with about what's going on in our country regarding education and school systems and shootings and all the craziness.
Okay.
So, how long you been teaching?
That is a good question. Um, Almost 20 years.
Nice.
Started in 2005.
Have you had to deal with any craziness, policies?
I mean, of course, Chicago is one of the, what are we, the third largest school system, third or fourth largest school system in the country. Um, so, of course, there have been some educational policies that definitely rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah.
I guess probably the easiest way to start would be to say that when I taught high school, I taught English. And I remember there being, freshman English is almost like an intro to English. Sophomore English was all American English, meaning American writers, American stories. Junior year was British literature. So you would run, that's where you would be able to, do your Shakespeare and things like Beowulf and novels like that. And then senior year was kind of like world lit, where it would be stories and literature from various authors around the world. And then, of course, at least at my school, we would have some electives. So we had like writing electives. We had a creative writing class. I remember having Latin American literature, which came later after I had been teaching for a few years. That was about it. So that, it didn't go very far until you got to, like, we adopted an AP program. So we ended up having the AP literature and AP language. So you got to expand even more. That was just one side. That was just in English. I know in history kind of follows sort of, I feel like maybe the same sort of path. Like I remember my friend teaching American history, and those are sophomores.
Mm-hmm.
So they were getting American literature and they were getting American history in their sophomore year. And that's when, you had a curriculum, you had a textbook, and you followed the textbook. I don't know how many teachers actually did that. Followed it closely, I should say. I mean, they went in order, how history happened. But I don't know how far they got. I don't even know if they made it to, the 60s.
Huh.
If you think about, the school year starts in September and you start with, natives and the first people on this continent and this land, and then you move forward from there and how America itself started and, all the history between 1600 to, in this case, 2005, 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you how far they've got. Now, the problem with what's going on in places like Florida.
Oh, okay. You're just jumping to it. Thank you.
No problem. I shouldn't say problem, but the reason why the things that they're doing in Florida is so dangerous is it further weakens sort of the commonality and cohesion, as tenuous as it is in this country, for future generations. I feel like those in charge of education in Florida and other places are assuming that these future generations are never going to leave. They're always going to stay in that same, stay in Florida. Mm-hmm. They're never going to go someplace else. They're going to stay, wherever else they're trying to say we can't teach CRT and taking fucking books out of schools and all that. That's a really big assumption, that those students aren't going to travel. And I've always believed, as Mark Twain believed, that travel is detrimental to ignorance. So not only is Florida trying to, it feels like they're whitewashing history or ignoring parts of history, but they're creating even further divide. Because my children know what slavery is,
right,
how it was, what happened since. My children know about equality. My children are all strong, LGBTQ plus advocates and allies. And if they, in their adult years run into one of these Florida educated kids who does not know about that, well, they're already set up for conflict. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're already set up for conflict. And not to say that, this has been going on for, as long as you've had education, I'm sure. I can remember a friend of mine leaving CPS and teaching at a private school here in Chicago, and she was strongly encouraged to basically just say, yeah, slavery was bad. Now let's see what happened after slavery.
Right.
That was the history lesson. And I just remember her being upset by that. She's like, I feel like they're doing a disservice.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that's why you have private schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want your kids educated a certain way, whether it be religious-based or any other base. And so now it's just Florida is attempting to do this on a statewide scale for public schools.
Yeah.
And the danger, of course, and that as we can all see, I shouldn't say all, most of us can see is creating not only a historically ignorant future generation, but also a tribal one, or not tribal, that's not the word I want. It's almost like they're trying desperately to roll back the clock. And if they never hear anything bad about what happened in this country, then they won't ever feel the need for things to change. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's almost like they're making a mockery of the idea that the ticket to a better life and a better world is through education.
Basically.
Yeah. It feels like it's being mocked. I can say as far as I've seen in Chicago, We don't have that, but we have other problems with, educating students in the third largest city in the world. I mean, in the country.
Yeah.
But our issues can mimic the ones that are in Florida, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been a steady degradation happening in education, both as a profession. I mean, teachers have always been sort of, there was a time when teachers were respected. I think that time has since passed. But also, just in the materials that you can now use to educate kids.
Like there's less resources?
No, there's more of it, but it's also implemented in such a way that it's almost like there's not enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I can tell you right now, like, as we learned during the pandemic, online learning does not work for everyone. It didn't work for the majority of kids.
Yeah.
Plopping your kid down in front of a computer to learn works for some kids. It really does. Like, one of my kids thrived during online learning. Did the best out of their other, all three of my kids that were going through it. But my other two suffered greatly. It was horrible for them. And part of that is those are the two that suffered the most, of course, were my more social kids. They're a lot more social than the one who thrived. That one, could be happy in a cave.
Right.
But also, online learning, to me, doesn't seem to take into account the way kids learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's one of the nuances of teaching, and honestly, that's probably one of the hardest things as a teacher is to recognize how students learn, how your students learn. I mean, you got almost 30 people sitting in front of you, and you're lucky if 5 of them can learn the same way.
Yeah.
And with online learning, it's unless you create a program specifically for the way this individual learns, it's all one big blanket, and it doesn't fit everyone.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what do you do? Especially if you're not, trained to look for alternatives, or, you don't know how to look for alternatives.
Yeah.
You don't know that, like right now, the students I have right now, because I teach special ed, I have one young lady who's on the spectrum. She can read and can write, and she can do, simple math. But, of course, for her, she needs the small environment. She needs the quieter space. She would not do well with 20-something other students. And my other student can't read at all.
Wow.
She probably knows about 20, maybe 30 sight words. And that's about it.
Wow.
So how do you put that kid in front of a computer and expect that child to learn unless you create a program specifically for that kid? I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things out there like, Hooked on Phonics would be great for her. We don't have that. And I don't know I probably could buy it, but I don't even know if like I'd be allowed to implement that to help her. That's almost like, you know what I'm saying?
You have to go through the higher ups to get everything passed to Egon.
Exactly, or certain, educational aids,
Yeah.
tools, I should say. I mean, and we even have a new curriculum right now that we're working with, and every training that I attended this summer, because that was my summer, attending trainings and plannings and all that for this new curriculum. Every last one of them I went to said it was not made for special ed students.
Wow, that's great.
Exactly. So what the heck do you want me to do with this?
Right.
I mean, it blows my mind. But so, we have to struggle with those sorts of things. So curriculum is a problem everywhere, yes. But the problem with curriculum in Florida, of course, is the things that they want to take out, the things that they want to shield, and I'm using air quotes around that.
Yeah. When I heard the one quote where basically they don't want to hurt the white kids' feelings, the first thing I thought of was like, I would be insulted if I was any of these kids. You don't think I can handle this, or you're gonna just lie to me about shit? This just doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. And what's even, I think, harder to make this, like I understand wanting to protect your kids from things, right? And like I said, I didn't think about it in the terms of feeling insulted, like as a kid. Like, what do you mean you think I'm weak? Again, I saw it as putting up one more divider,
Mm-hmm.
one more thing to keep pushing the narrative of superiority.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen over the last 10, 15 years, there's been a lot of, I mean, the kids that are my children's age, my children's generation, I mean, let's think, they are so much more tolerant, so much more understanding and loving for everyone.
Right.
All differences. And I feel like there's certain individuals that don't like that, that don't want that. If I can run into someone, or if my kids run into someone who's somehow different than the norm and can readily accept that person, that builds allyship.
Right.
That builds, and I feel like they don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want that.
They want the
And
hatred.
they want the hatred. They want the fear, because that's literally all this is fear. They want the hatred. They want the fear, and it keeps some people under control. It's about control.
It is.
It's about control, and if you don't know anything, you'll fall for it. Everything.
Right.
So I will say that I don't know kind of what the future will hold in terms of quality education. Like, I feel like it's been a dedicated effort to undermine public education.
Yeah. It is.
And it's been going on at least 30 years, but probably longer than that.
Right.
And freaking fortunately, it's working.
Yeah.
It's working. I one of my hardest things to teach kids is how to think.
Right. See your own person.
And, well, not only that, but no, just how to think. How to look at, here's a sentence. What do you, I don't know if you remember this, like there was a cartoon, and it was, fix this sentence. And the words were, woman without her man is nothing. And one group left it alone. Woman without her man is nothing. The other group put in commas. Woman, comma. Without her, comma, man is nothing. Those are literally two different sentences.
Right.
And they mean two different things.
Mm-hmm.
We can't, I shouldn't say can't. It's so much harder to teach that now.
Yeah.
It's almost like we need everyone to think the same way, everyone to see the same things, everyone to, damn near look the same way. Like it's
pretty much that too.
Yeah, I don't know how to combat that on a national level.
I feel that's something that's being dealt with by your average citizen. The whole Karen thing and social media has reinforced that, just to be like everybody else, and capitalism in some respects, money and all that. And I think we're at a point where it's starting to bust. Like you said, your kids, and I noticed that with kids in their 20s and younger, it doesn't matter what nationality, ethnicity, what sex, they don't care. I always get the reaction when I'm talking to somebody younger when it's about historical, or they're always willing to listen and consider. They don't argue. They're more willing to listen and get the information before they start arguing with you. They're willing to learn and always really polite and nice and very individualistic too.
Yes, very much so. And the other side of that coin, of course, is those kids who can't see past the gloss. They
Mm-hmm.
can't see past the, TikTok influencers' lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
They can't see past, again, like the shiny stuff, the glitz.
Yeah.
I think about the students I work with and where I work. And yeah, our school has uniforms, which, Lord love them, it's definitely, I understand the need for them, but even with the students who have uniforms, there's still this idea, or there's still this undercurrent of status.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to combat.
Right.
And it's, their shoes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Or their headgear.
Yeah.
Or, their hoodie. Or their it's so hard to get them to understand that none of that actually matters.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what's important. I have to say, I'm honestly still surprised that my kids aren't as fashion aware as some other kids.
Their drive is to have the new gear and new gadgets, new crap.
Gadgets Yes, to a certain extent, but I mean like fashion-wise.
Yeah.
Like my kids could almost care less where their clothes come from.
Nice.
I don't even think they know any like designer names. And that could just be because, you know, Michael and I aren't like that. Like
Yeah.
I was when I was younger, and I am about certain things. And now they're getting to an age where, like, you know, Matthew, I was like, dude, your shoes are expensive because, of course, he's older
Mm-hmm.
and he's feet. So, in order to get him shoes that can have some longevity, we can't buy the $30 gym shoes or the $50 gym shoes.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not how that works anymore. Same thing with like clothes. I'm like, yeah, I'm not spending $90 on a pair of pants for you that,
That's wild.
yeah, like you might get 2 or 3 wears out of because you're about to outgrow them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, this time, you know, in about 3 months they're going to be too short on you. It's like absolutely not.
Yeah.
But those are the kids that, you know, I deal with, some fashion conscious kids, and that's because I think their parents are fashion conscious, and trying to get their minds around the educational content. You know, it's like we're fighting so many battles at the same time. We're fighting against whatever their personal challenges are, you know.
Yeah.
Especially given the neighborhood that of the school I work in. Whatever their family challenges are,
Mm-hmm.
whatever their, and then, you know, then you pull in the social challenges, and then you pull in the social media challenge, the immediate gratification challenge. Like, it's so hard to get kids to understand that you have to work at something to get good at it. You have to practice. Schoolwork is like that. School is like that. And I'm honestly getting to the point now where I don't even know if I can still keep the faith strong enough to keep pushing.
Yeah.
To keep putting up these shields around the kids. Like, when you're in my room, this is a space for learning.
Yeah.
Because I look at, there's so many things that are just, not just distractions, but detractions. Like, it's not as robust. I feel like education is not as robust as it used to be. You know, we get bogged down in measurement.
You mean,
you know,
the school's performance?
Exactly. And it's like, why, like, what is that? I feel like that doesn't gain you what you think that would gain you.
Yeah. Like it's a factory.
You know? Exactly. And we're not, I feel like some places are not adapting away from that idea fast enough. And that's also a design.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of your questions you had sent me earlier was talking about, like, you know, school shootings and stuff like that. And knock on wood, I don't have to deal with that.
Okay.
That's not one of the challenges we have in CPS. Not school shootings.
Do you have drills, though?
No.
Really?
Yes, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think like twice a year that I've
Oh, okay.
since I've been. No, did I? I'm trying to think if we did it in high school. Yeah, we did. Kind of like the last few years I taught in high school. I seem to remember doing the practice drill. So yeah, we do have to do the drills, but I feel like the idea of someone coming in the building to shoot is such a nebulous sort of thought for the students that I teach and the students that are in my building. Like, my students, I think, worry about gunshots when they leave the building.
Yeah.
So even doing that drill, it's almost like they know it's serious, but it's not something that they take to heart, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I can't speak for other schools, other communities, even within CPS. I can't speak on how those kids seem to react. But I can say that the kids where I teach it's almost like it's just one more thing to do.
Yeah.
Not something that they think about. Not something that, I mean, I guess no one fears it because until it happens.
Right. I think kids are adaptive too. They're just like, all right, so this is what I have to deal with, and you just get used to it.
Yeah. So it's a little more, like I said, school shootings not necessarily the issue that I see. I mean, there are still schools with metal detectors. So, there's that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think I've only seen them in high school, I'll be honest with you. I don't remember seeing metal detectors in elementary schools.
Yeah.
Not to say they aren't there, because I haven't been into every school building in CPS, but I don't recall seeing them in elementary buildings.
I just think it's crazy. I went to a high school trying to get an interview. We live a couple blocks from a high school and a grade school. I was trying to talk to the principal or the vice principal about what they have to deal with. They have a video. The teachers have training on how to deal with this. I work at a grocery store. I've already heard from two high schoolers that they've had to deal with a close call, and two junior high kids that's maybe 7 blocks from where we live. They were inspired by watching the news and watching social media about all these shootings that they were trying to do one themselves. And they didn't have any issues, just to be cool, And that's what I notice. It's just crazy to me. It's just part of the norm. I feel bad for teachers. Teachers going on strike, having to pay for their own materials because they don't have the budget. That some parts of the country they want to train them to use guns. I'm glad you don't have to deal with that shit. It sucks overall when you hear about what other teachers have to deal with. I was watching the news. This guy who's a superintendent of this Pennsylvania district says we can't get people to apply to be teachers anymore. There's so much bullshit that goes with it now.
Exactly.
So it's just rough. I can think of 3 teachers on high school and junior high that had a big effect on my life. That inspired me. Now, they're just making it harder to have those moments. Sometimes the teachers are the parents for some of these kids, depending on their house, their homes.
Exactly. And it's a lot to put on us, and I feel like for a while there, everyone going into teaching kind of knew that that's sort of what you would have to sort of adapt and become that.
Right.
But now it's almost like we're automatic ops. Like we are automatically not on your side, sort of thing.
Like you become the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, again, this is all, I feel like, by design. Or it could have been a happy, accident that now it's so much harder to get teachers and there's teacher shortages and stuff. But then you see districts doing things like what they did in Florida, where if you are military or you're related to a military person, you can go. You just have to observe a certified teacher. I think it was something like 12 hours of observation.
Yeah. Are they going to do background checks on these people? What if they got some serious issues? In my opinion, it seems like the military is not producing the best because they put them through the ringer or they got some serious political issues and they bring that shit home. And you hear about the racist teacher. Like there's this one that called one of her kids the N-word or wrote it down. Just these teachers acting crazy, which is the other side of it. And perfect example. Anita and I were out to dinner downtown, and we were talking to these tourists, and it was this husband and wife, and they were from Eastern Washington, from a small area. And this guy starts, a history teacher, starts bad mouthing his kids, especially the Latino kids. I was talking about CRT, and he's like, when I was younger, they weren't mean to the white kids. Now they're mean to them. And I was like, really? You don't want to know about how this used to be native land, it was stolen by white people? They just named off a list of all these important things. They just were like, whatever. It got more heated. He just points out these people are stealing jobs, this and that. I was thinking, you're a history teacher, huh? Wow. And of course, like most bigots, they pull out their DNA. I'm not racist. Lady was half Iranian, the wife, and then he was half Jewish. And I was like, wow, so the white in you is speaking the racist part. What's up with you? And my wife's like, what's wrong with you? And these three little white girls were standing there, and later they're like, thank you. Like, that's just wrong. And that's just the whole example right there. It seems like they just want to throw you in a classroom. They don't even do a background check on the person teaching the class. These are supposed to be people watching over your kids for 8 hours a day. That's how they feel about them. Wow, it's scary.
Yeah. It definitely is not attracting the best of the best anymore. I will say that. Even some of the veteran teachers that I know have had problems, I feel like, relating to the students in our building. When I taught high school, I taught on the south side, and it was pretty even between Latino and black.
The
with a few other. No, the student population.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty even when I first started working there. So we had like, I want to say there was like 5 or 6 different gangs in the building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The odd part is, though, is that we did not have a lot of, or maybe we did and I just didn't know about it, but I don't remember there being like a lot of inter-gang fighting. Like the Latino gang fighting one of the black gangs. I don't remember that being the case. It was more like infighting.
Just between the students.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I do know that again there was quite a few of some of the some of the people who some of the teachers, they could not relate to some of our students.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember getting in arguments with some of them, like, why are you being such a hard ass towards this person, this child? Like one specific example was one of the girls got pregnant. And we had a program where once she had the baby, while she was home with the baby, a teacher would go to her house, and it was almost like we would bring her all the work from her teachers and try and help her get through the work.
Yeah.
But there were there was quite a few teachers who just thought that was the worst thing ever.
Hmm.
Why are we doing this for these girls? Why are we, it's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Why is it bothering you? Like, why does this hurt your feelings? Like, you and I both know that this girl is going to have a hard road ahead of her. We already know that. Why do you have to add to it?
Right.
And that, I feel like, will be attitudes like that, I feel like, are going to increase instead of decrease. Because there's going to be, like you said, there's so much, like that one teacher you just talked to. There's like this weird sense of animosity, and I'm not good with words right now.
You're good. You're doing great. I get what you're saying. My daughter-in-law, she was lucky where they're at. The other thing is pay. She wouldn't be making enough in any other district she was checking out compared to the one that she got into. She got into a private school. I guess back in the days, teaching was looked at as a respected profession. But now you see these videos of the board meetings, and either the school board is pro students and pro education, or they're the exact opposite and they're corrupt. They literally throw out anything anti CRT. If they're religious, you'll find something about person on the board being shady, either taking money or a complete hypocrite projecting what they do. It just, the whole point of it has been lost. You do it because you want to teach, you want to help kids, and you have a somewhat parental feeling about it. You feel for the children in this country. And it almost seems like, depending where you're at, you're better off homeschooling your kid. And I hate that shit. You send them to a school that's literally having these open racist policies or people. I feel in some ways I've learned stuff from watching certain movies or TV shows that are period pieces, like that one show, The Watchmen. And there's a whole section on one of the characters. She's black, and her grandfather was a superhero, and he was in the massacre.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's just one example. And that was a whole news story about that. How nobody's talked about this. Tom Hanks. I never heard of this, and that's the power of burning books and documents, not telling the stories, or disbelieving the people who are still alive, your elders, when they tell you about this stuff. Education is super important. I think it's amazing that you still want to do this with everything going on, and how our educational system is a joke. I'll meet people from different countries, that some of them that the United States has literally bombed or ruined. And the stereotype you should give certain people is, oh, another educated person, because I swear the way they talk about people from Iran or Iraq as they're ignorant, this and that. Then you find out Saddam Hussein, he had tons of universities. Same thing with Libya. There was tons of universities. Cubans are 95% literate. Jamaicans are 95% literate. And then you look at us, and we always flex like we got the biggest balls and we're the baddest, but we're the dumbest motherfuckers as a citizen. It goes to other countries. We're the loudest, whiniest. You go to the airport, and it's like we don't even know shit. We're content with not knowing the real history, just basic math. I mean, why do they teach grammar school? People speak slang all the time. There's nothing wrong with that, but we don't even know the real language that the slavers were instilling into this country, and you just can't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess that'll do it. Unless you want to add anything else, that's pretty good. You covered a lot of bases.
No, nothing I can think of right now.
And you're doing okay? Like, you're feeling better?
Oh yeah, my head's much better. I think so. I already have insomnia, and I had insomnia for a long time. And then I started taking medication, who one of its side effects is insomnia. So, yeah. And then the school year started back, and like I said, we're in the midst of this new curriculum that, although it's not made for my students, I still have to figure out a way to somehow use it for my students. So it's been a lot going on, and I think my head was just like, yeah, so you won't sit down.
Right.
You know?
Your brain's probably just overloaded.
Exactly. So I was like, we're going to have to make you stay home, I see.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it wasn't a, what do you call it, migraine. I knew it wasn't a migraine because I wasn't light sensitive and I wasn't nauseated. So I think it was just one of those lack of sleep headaches.
Yeah.
And stress headache. That probably is the best way to say it. So I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Right. Do you have to teach the kids yet? Or are you just doing prep?
Oh, no. We've been back. This is going to be our 4th week of school on starting Monday. Yeah. Chicago started going back in August.
Yeah, that's what they did here. I guess August is now the beginning of the year. I didn't know that because I've been out of school for so long.
Yeah, yeah, this is, like I said, this is somewhat fairly new, especially for Chicago. Like teachers went back August 14th. And then the students started literally the Monday after that. So like the 21st.
Yeah.
Or 22nd, whatever day it was. So.
Do you have a sense your class yet, or how long does that take usually?
You know, I'm getting there because I have such a small load of kids this year.
Oh, that's good, huh?
Yeah, I have a very small class, and I have the advantage of I worked with some of those students last year.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, when they were in 5th grade, I was helping out in 5th grade last year.
Oh, you're in 6th grade now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Do you think it's easier teaching middle schoolers than high schoolers?
Nope.
No, it's the same.
It's about the same. I mean, I used to tell my high schoolers they were just tall toddlers.
Right. Okay. That's interesting.
It's pretty much the same struggle.
They still run their mouth and know everything, like the high schoolers.
Yep. They run their mouth. They know everything. And sixth grade is that year where your peers have the most power.
Right. Tweens, man. Right? My God.
It's so weird. And I'm still getting used to it. I mean, I still get amazed when when I walk into the building and it's like I feel something brush past my kneecaps and I'm like, what was that? And it's like, one of the pre-K kids. I'm like, God.
Oh, they're all in the same building.
Pre-K through 8.
Oh. Interesting.
So, we got 4-year-olds. 3-year-olds and 14-year-olds in the building.
I'm like having a family. You're around somebody's family. That's funny.
Oh, and my school is very much like that. Like the school I work in, it's very much, I joke around and say that it's like the, God, what was this family that used to fight all the time? But anyway, there's so many of like 4 families. Like
nice.
There's 4 families that populate my school. It's like there's so many of them that are related. And like last year we had 2 sets of siblings in the same grade who are not twins.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So it was 4 kids, 2 of whom shared a mom, and 2 of whom shared a dad. It's so weird. Like they were so oddly related to each other. And then of course cousins.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, oh my God. It was like Hatfields and McCoys. It was like, like you guys are all in one damn family. Or 2 or 3 families. Like I said, it's 2 or 3 families that populate my school.
Yeah. Well, hey, let me ask you a positive. What initially do you like about it? What is one thing that keeps you going? What one thing that makes you not say fuck it and fuck everything, I'm out of here?
Definitely my coworkers.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I do like my coworkers. I actually like my administration.
Cool.
I've been debating for the last couple of years. Like I'm thinking now, I'm pushing on to 20 years. I'm pretty sure I don't have another 15 years in me. Like I cannot give CPS 30-something years of my life. I just don't have that in me.
Yeah.
So maybe my last few years of teaching, I'll go back to high school. But I was like, actually, I like my administration. I like my administrator. I don't necessarily want to leave. And lastly, I do think that I feel like the connections that you make with kids and seeing them get it, like they finally get it.
Yeah.
And just watching the growth and maturity, that's another thing that keeps me going back.
Well, that's cool. To see the kids grow.
Yeah, both, academically, but also even personally, like, the kids that are in 8th grade right now, I had them as 6th graders.
Yeah.
I taught them as 6th graders, and they are not the same person they were in 6th grade. And that's so cool.
It is cool. A little hopeful from that then? You're like, okay.
Yes and no. Yeah. Yes and no. I'm hopeful in an academic sense, but I'm also, terrified because, these are little black kids living in roughest areas of Chicago.
Yeah.
And so you can only education will take them places, but they gotta want it, and they gotta, understand what the fight is, and that's part of what I fear is being washed away.
Right.
They no longer see value in it.
And it's hard for them in our society the way things are going. It's like in Back to the Future when Michael J. Fox's character, and you see that picture of his siblings fading away. It's what it to me. That's what I see, just in history and trying to be erased and or hidden. It's the same thing. It seems like no, don't ask, don't tell, and don't worry about it. Bullshit.
For sure.
So.
For sure. So yeah, I'm fighting against disillusionment.
That's true. Shit.
I have to fight against that for myself. And I was having a conversation. I remember probably like in the springtime with someone else about, well, you have a master's degree. Like, couldn't you teach college? I was like, the thing is about any sort of career change that I do at this point, I'm most likely going to have to take a pay cut.
Oh. Huh.
And I am kind of not in a position to do that comfortably, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. There's so much you have to consider.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong, I thought about it. I was like, shit, I can go work at Starbucks.
Yeah.
When you clock out, that work stays there, unlike teaching.
It doesn't end when you go home.
No, not all the time. But I also, I'm pretty sure I would miss it. So it's things that I'm thinking about. Like, even if I get out of the classroom, I think I still want to be involved with education.
Yeah. I think you're natural at it. I mean, even we're discussing comic books and creating that, you were describing it and how you learn from it and how to use it as a tool. You and Mike both have this power of explaining things in a informative way, welcoming, like, I'll show you, like some people have this attitude where their information is kept secret because they know its power, but you guys are great at that. That's a gift. I think not everybody has it. Being calm enough and clear enough to explain a thing to somebody so they understand it and not feel insulted.
Oh, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because some people, they'll talk to you and it's insulting because they're just like, all right, and they have to.
Why don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, Mea Davis, thank you for being on the show. I will keep you updated and send you all the info and send you a copy of this so you get to hear it and you can go, well, I don't know, and make a decision. But I most of all appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate you being a teacher, and then I appreciate you being on the show.
Oh, you're so welcome, honey.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.